A Saturday night date at TD Garden.
Followed by midweek mayhem at Gamble. College hoops fanatics were treated to a monster week of basketball.
Well, they started by shipping up to Boston and declawing the number 3 BYU Cougars.
But the 4th-ranked Arizona Wildcats showed they can hang with dogs in a game that went down to the wire.
And the Huskies closed the door on another big week of basketball.
And stroll into another week with a top-ranked opponent.
And we're here to bring you all that insight.
Connecticut Game Week starts right now.
It was raining more than just cats and dogs this past week, Sean. It was raining buckets all the way from Boston to Storrs. Thank you for the demonstration. The number 3 Huskies squad squared off against the top-ranked Cougars and Wildcats on the hardwood this past week. Welcome into Connecticut Game Week. I'm Alexa Harley.
And I'm Sean Humphrey, maybe with questionable form. I'm also about the 4th McFly, I think. Alexa and I have transported from all around to be here with you, from TD Garden to Gamble to the Fox 61 studio. Now, we aren't ready to divulge our time-traveling secrets just yet. But what we are ready to do is break down the big week of college basketball.
And we'll start by taking you all the way back to Saturday night at the Garden out in Boston. Number 3 UConn and number 7 BYU. Both teams trading baskets early on, but the Huskies, they drove a bit of a wedge between themselves and the Cougars, and it was in large part due to the usual suspects: Silas Demery Jr., Alex Caravan, and Terrace Reed Jr. All 3 ballers lit up the board with 21 points each. Their double-digit outings helped give UConn a pretty sizable 16-point lead with under 8 to play, but BYU would not go down quiet. They cut the deficit to single digits as the seconds ticked away, but Demery Jr. came up clutch in those final moments, knocking down 2 from the line and a steal to help seal the deal and escape the Garden in the win column, 86-84 that final. Now, Dan Hurley, he gave a lot of credit to the Georgia transfer for keeping UConn out in front.
Yeah, I mean, that's just exactly what we need at that position. Plus, the guy's a ball hawk too. And he obviously showed that he's clutch. He's able to get to the free throw line. He's able to put pressure on the rim. That's something we haven't had. We did not have last year. A guy that can get to the rim, get in the paint, finish, get to the free throw line. Made a huge baseline. Runner, and I think the guy is going to keep getting better and better. And we needed that from him. I thought Jaden Ross was awesome tonight in 12 minutes, but he got in foul trouble. But we had some problems on the wing tonight. Jalen and Solo both had subpar offensive games, and so we needed that from Silas, and he delivered.
Another guy who delivered was Terrace Reed Jr. You heard me mention his 20-plus points that he attributed to the scoreboard, but he was such a difference maker on defense on Saturday, and it's something that Coach Hurley has said time and time again while Reed Jr. rode the bench with that injury a few weeks prior, was that once the big man was in the game, the defense would find its groove, and Reed certainly contributed on that end, leading the team with 7 defensive rebounds and 2 blocks. And Reed says that the way the team has been practicing this offseason is what has set them up for success so far this year.
Our practices are so intense. I mean, just coming into this game, we're like, there's no team in the country that practices the way we practice. I mean, we go to war every single day. So walking into a game like this, we know what to expect. And like I said, we got to be physical from the jump. I mean, that's going to be the biggest thing for us this year, and set the tone early. Be dominant that first, we call it the war. So the first 4 minutes, we got to be dominant. And I feel like we did that the whole game.
On the heels of such a big early win for the Huskies, the crowd at Gamble was in every seat, every letter, SELLOUT. And speaking of spelling, how about Big Red late in the game? And you just heard Alexa mention Terrace Reed. Well, he wasn't available for Arizona, and you could certainly tell on the glass. Arizona out-rebounded UConn by 20. Still, the Huskies managed to scratch and claw their way from a 13-point deficit, even taking the lead briefly in what became a dogfight. Ultimately, Wildcats guard Jaden Bradley's 21-point performance became the difference, sending the capacity crowd home with a sour taste in their mouths. Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd was obviously happy to get the win, and he says even preparing for this showdown wasn't easy.
What Danny and his staff have done with their offense is really, kind of revolutionized the game, but I don't think anybody else has been able to kind of mimic it. Yeah, I mean, it's just a massive amount of movement, and it's actions layered on top of actions, and there's actually a rhyme and a reason and an organization to it that, it's like a Rubik's Cube. I haven't figured it out. But the one thing I did figure out is number 1 and number 11 are really important in that. So we got to do a great job staying on their bodies. That's why we decided to go to a non-switching plan. Where a lot of teams would maybe look at that and say, we want to switch. We were like, we want to stay on their body. We want to top lock when we can. We want to make their catches tough. We want to let them know that every time they get a screen, there's a good chance we're going to be fighting through it with them.
Replacing Terrace Reed, who was out with an ankle injury, was freshman forward Eric Ryba. He finished with 15 points, hitting key shots down the stretch, including 2 3-pointers. The final score was 71-67. And even through the frustration that comes with a tough loss, Coach Dan Hurley and guard Solo Ball both gave the big man props for stepping up against a tough opponent.
And Taras is one of the best rebounders in the country. There's a lot of things that would not have went on in the game: paint defense, defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding. But I'll say this, I don't think I could be prouder of Big Eric. I mean, Eric's going to be an awesome player. And obviously the development moment for him tonight is going to do so much for his confidence, and then the different look that we're going to be able to give people at center.
He played like a dog. He really kept us in the game. Late in the game, he really gave us a big run when he got that 3 and then big rebounds. He had so many big plays throughout the game. He didn't even look like a freshman. And that was the first thing I told him in the locker room, like before we even started the game. It's just like, I want you to come to this game like just with the approach that you're not a freshman, bro. Like, you've played big games already, played against BYU at TD Garden. And I mean, I'm so proud of this dude.
Well, they may have to start calling him Killer Caravan, Sean, because the Massachusetts native was killing it on the hardwood. Alex Caravan nailed bucket after bucket with a total of 21 points on Saturday against BYU, earning him the title Big East Player of the Week. Now, the redshirt senior shot 8 of 11 from the field and was perfect from the arc, knocking down all 4 3-point attempts. Overall this season, the All-American hopeful is averaging around 18.3 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, and 2.3 assists.
And it was a barn burner in the Battle of the Huskies at Toscano. Ethan Gardula broke a scoreless tie in the second period against 11th-ranked Northeastern, and it wasn't the last time the crowd would hear the brass bonanza. How about 11 seconds later, Jake Percival extends the lead to 2 with what would be his first goal of a hat-trick performance. He also scored the game winner and an empty netter in the third. 4-2 UConn in the first game of a weekend series sweep.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for Ray
The man who needs no introduction was introduced to a jam-packed crowd at TD Garden Saturday night. UConn icon Ray Allen was honored during a special celebration during halftime of that BYU-UConn game. Now, Allen was the first ever Husky to be a 2-time All-American and the first ever UConn player to have his jersey retired. That number 33 is still hanging up in Gamble as we speak. And look at this vamped up Hall of Fame jacket. You just saw it. He made sure to show it off a little bit to the crowd. Got both the Celtics and Huskies logo stitched in there. Sean, I feel like you would own something like that for sure.
Well, I don't know about that, maybe at a young age. Sarah Strong continued what's been an absolute tear to begin the season in UConn's win over Ohio State Sunday, and she did it all in Hartford this past weekend. 29 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 steals, and 3 blocks. And after I catch my breath, the Huskies had a 32-point victory. Listen, she already won AP National Player of the Week honors after her first 2 games of the season. Now one's got to wonder if teams will be able to find a way to stop her at all this year. Just pure dominance.
Well, you know what they say, save the best for last, and that's exactly what running back Cam Edwards did this week. Our top dog delivered his finest day on the gridiron, the Huskies' final home game of the season. Now, Edwards, who averaged just 5 yards per carry in all of his previous seasons, pieced together a brilliant second half on Saturday, rushing for 165 yards and 2 trips to the house, launching him over that 1,000 rushing yard milestone for the year. Now, after weeks where the Huskies have relied relied heavily on the passing attack. It's a bit ironic that things slowed down in the air against Air Force on Saturday. Now, Cam Edwards' legs helped secure UConn's 8th win of the year, not to mention that the redshirt junior is the first rusher to reach that 1K rushing season mark since 2019. Now, after the game, he and Coach Moore reflected on Edwards' progress as a player and a person since he first stepped foot onto Storrs.
Overall, it means a lot to me. I mean, just striving to get every goal that I'm chasing, man. Job's not finished. I'm trying to get to the NFL, and hopefully that dream comes true too, man. But job's not finished yet.
I just said it to the team, and Cam's heard me say it a lot. There was some immaturity to him, but that's kind of typical of college players, which shows why you have to have patience as they develop, and you help them develop into the young men that Cam's become. And it's at a certain point in his career, I think he just said enough is enough. I'm going to really put my foot down and put the pedal down and be a great football player.
Overall, I'm just trying to be the best person, whatever the team asks me to do. And whoever they need me to be, whatever role I have to play, I'm going to do my job, man. I'm just here to do my job and have fun and play football. That's what I love.
He's tough as can be. He's a dog. We say a dog. D-A-W-G is a dog. He's got dog in him. You can ride with a guy like Cam.
Now, Edwards looks to have another big day on Saturday against Florida Atlantic. Now, their defense ranks 128th in the nation against the run, allowing almost 200 yards per game.
Still to come on Connecticut Game Week, the UConn football team is gearing up for its regular season finale, as Alexa just mentioned. We'll dig into why Florida Atlantic could be a tough test for the Huskies. And reigning Hockey East Rookie of the Year, Claire Murdoch, is all about effort. Later, we'll talk to the star sophomore about where her Husky hustle comes from. Don't go anywhere. More Connecticut Game Week next.
Well, after a perfectly polished season at the Rent, going 6-0, the Huskies jet set into the Sunshine State, where Sean and I are both from, to wrap up the 2025 regular season on the gridiron.
UConn will take on FAU in its regular season finale, but of course the team passed that 6-win threshold, so the Huskies are not totally done putting on their helmets for the year, since they are bowl eligible. They're going bowling. In order to secure that 9th win of the year, UConn will have to take down an FAU team that is coming off a tough homecoming loss to Tulane. That's a bit of a rebranding year for the Owls. It's head coach Zach Kitley's first season at the helm of the program, leading a team that saw plenty of transfers and turnovers in the offseason. But this year, his defense has shown promise, especially against the pass. As for the offense, the Owls like to air it out, leading the nation with just over 329 passing yards per game. Now, you can listen to me tell you this, or you can hear it from Huskies head man Jim Mora.
Offensively, they present completely different challenges than what we just faced versus Navy. This team throws it around. They're outstanding throwing the ball. They're balanced. They run the ball well. They've got athletes all over the field. They're very, very good at home. They're 3-1 right now at home. So defensively, they're opportunistic. They've got a ton of ability on that side of the ball. They played some good teams very, very well. So we have a tough task ahead of us. Fortunately, our guys have been able to come back and get refocused, which is a testament, I believe, to their maturity and their belief in what we are trying to become as a football program here.
FAU UConn regular season finale for the Huskies kickoff is at 3 p.m. Saturday in Boca Raton, Florida. While football closes the book on the regular season, the women's hoops team has just begun writing what could be another championship chapter. So far, the Huskies are 4-0 on the court, and pardon my French, but none of those 4 games have been close. UConn has done what UConn does best: demolish the competition. Alexa broke out the calculator and has a closer look at just how much the Lady Huskies have dominated in the paint.
Yeah, Sean, the fact that I needed a calculator to break this out says more about me than it does the team. But let me just show you how dominant the Huskies have been on the hardwood thus far. They are 4-0, and each game they continue to score more and more and hold their opponents to less and less. Now, the Armed Forces Classic against ranked Louisville was the closest game UConn has played so far, with just 79 points that they scored. But since then, they've just continued to go up, hitting the 80s, the 90s, and of course that triple-digit threshold most recently when they demolished Ohio
Ohio State. And they've also held all their opponents to below 70 points so far this season, but perhaps the most impressive line is the point differential between each game. And the Huskies have won by 30 or more in all of their games this season. A big reason because of these two right here, Fudd and Strong. Both ladies have shot double digits in all 4 games, with Sarah Strong passing 20 points in 3 out of 4 games. Now, they do have some tough games on the slate, on the road at USC and at home against Iowa in December, but this team very much has the means to win every game by 30-plus points this season.
Girls will chirp me for this, but I love Big X the Plug. I went to see him with my brother this summer in concert in Toronto, and it was probably the best concert I've been to. So ever since then, he's my go-to before every game.
Claire Murdoch talking about pre-game tunes. Coming up, we'll hear about her on-ice effort as her team continues a stellar season. More Connecticut Game Week next. UConn's women's hockey team has been on fire this season. The Huskies have held a steady spot in the top 15 and sit at 8th ahead of a weekend series with Vermont at Toscano this weekend. You could see someone snipe home the game-winning goal, play in the perfect pass, or dive on the ice to swat the puck away from the opponent. Sophomore Claire Murdoch has been all 3 players in her UConn career, showing the H in Husky is for hustle. Since before Claire Murdoch was a Husky, her hard work has shown up in the box score.
Effort's always been the #1 thing for me in my game. I played for my dad growing up, and that was always his motto, that hard work beats talent.
And since she's been in stores, she's made an impact. As a freshman, she led the team in points and was Hockey East's unanimous Rookie of the Year. She's everywhere on the ice and says her drive comes from the way she learned the game.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me was playing boys hockey growing up. I mean, you kind of learn the game a little differently. That's where I learned that no matter what, I always want to be the hardest working player on the ice, because that's what I had to do to compete at that level, and I think that's carried me through to UConn.
Murdoch finished her youth hockey career by stuffing the stat sheet. She led her team in Ontario with 51 goals and 73 assists in just 42 games. And even though her prolific scoring ability has followed her to stores, don't expect her to leave the ice with her head down if she doesn't light the lamp.
Even when it doesn't show up in goals or assists, I mean, there's so much more to the game. There's so much more than just scoring or setting up goals. There's all the things you do defensively. There's forechecking, back-checking. So I think just keeping that in mind is a big thing for me.
The question could be what to work on when you focus so much time on learning to contribute to the team in multiple ways. But that didn't stop Murdoch from finding something to hone in on.
A big focus for me this summer coming into my sophomore year was working on my skating. I skated a few times a week with a figure skater in the summer, and it's just important to have those extra tools in your back pocket.
And on a team that's had a sizzling start to the season, Murdoch's fellow Huskies have helped sharpen her skills.
This team and the players on this team make the transition so easy. I've never played with girls who want what's best for me as much as the girls on UConn, and it's just been a pleasure to play with everyone here, and it's made the transition really smooth, and these past 2 years have been really enjoyable because of that.
Interestingly enough, Murdoch didn't record a single penalty minute last season. She's had 2 trips to the box this year and says getting whistled for a penalty was inevitable, but she hopes to stay out of the sin bin going forward.
And we got another big week of basketball for both the men's and women's squad. We'll tell you what's coming up for the Huskies on the hardwood next week. And postseason on the pitch is the lead single off what could be a national soccer title album for the UConn Huskies. The men from Maroon Stadium earned a top bid and a bye in the NCAA Tournament. We'll hear from the team on how they're feeling ahead of their playoff game. That coming up next. Well, for the first time since 2018, the Huskies are dancing on the pitch. And for the first time since 2016, the UConn men's soccer team secured an at-large top 16 bid in the NCAA Tournament. The Huskies sit as the 13 overall seed and earned a bye all the way into the second round. So they will begin their quest to bring a third NCAA title back to Maroon Stadium, and the first since 2000. And I got to tell you, players and coaching staff are ready to get things going on the postseason pitch.
No, feels good. All right. I think everybody's excited. Players are excited. I think it's just a good opportunity for this program and this group, to showcase themselves in front of hopefully 5,000 fans. So we're looking forward to it.
It means everything, honestly. our goal is to win a national championship, and the fact that we're here and we're doing it is historic, and I think that the group really deserves to be here. We've worked hard all season, all preseason. We worked for it, and the fact that we're here and we're celebrating is we're gonna get the job done.
This is a big program. This is one of the top programs in the country. This is a state that loves soccer and is passionate about soccer. So anytime you get in the NCAA tournament, give yourself a chance to win a national championship, I think you're pretty excited about it.
We're taking it day by day. We're practicing today, we're practicing tomorrow. We're not really thinking too much about Sunday right now. We're trying to take it day by day. But its energy's high. We're all excited. The mindset is focused. We're all locked in. We just want to get a W.
So soccer playoffs are making their way to stores this weekend, but that's not the only big sporting event that the Huskies will be a part of.
Of course, we got big-time basketball matchups coming as well. So here's a look at what's in stores.
Stores is Soccer Town this Sunday as the Huskies host the second round of the NCAA Tournament. The team clinched a spot in the postseason and a first-round bye after getting to the finals of the Big East Tournament. They chased their first college cup since head coach Chris Bondi led the team to the national championship as a player in 2000. First kick, 2 p.m.
Well, the women's team is off to that dominant 4-0 start that I mentioned earlier in the show. They've got ranked Michigan this week, then they'll face Utah on Sunday. But next week, I will bring you a story on one special Husky who was forced to step away from the hardwood last season after suffering from severe concussions. Caroline Ducharme, who has played a pivotal role on the UConn women's squad over the years, sat down with me to share her story of heartbreak and recovery. And you can catch that conversation next week right here on Connecticut Game Week.
Finally, the number 3 team in the country, the UConn Huskies, have a big Black Friday matchup at Madison Square Garden. They'll tip off against number 9 Illinois at 12:30 p.m. So for all you bargain deal enthusiasts, you can get your Black Friday shopping done in the morning. And then right around lunchtime, you've got top 10 basketball heading your way. How about that at Store South?
Have you clipped your coupons out for Black Friday yet? Are you thinking ahead to what you want to spend your money on next week?
I don't know about clipping coupons, but I'm excited to make macaroni and cheese for Thanksgiving. I'm the macaroni master. I'm the guy when it comes to that.
Just mac and cheese, nothing else for Thanksgiving?
Well, that's the most important dish on the spread, I gotta say.
I think people might disagree with that. You got your cranberry sauce enthusiasts, your turkey defenders.
Well, I don't want to alienate the people, but to echo the words of The Rock, when it comes to that mac and cheese point, it doesn't matter what you think.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk more Thanksgiving food next week on Connecticut Game Week, so make sure you stay with us and tune in next week.